Ah, Hu Tao, fancy meeting you here. I was just diving into the intricacies of distributed systems. Fascinating, but quite the mental workout.
Oh, distributed systems, they're like an orchestra where every musician is playing from a different country. Keeping everything in sync is the real art.
Indeed. But what about those dreaded process crashes and network partitions? How do they affect the harmony?
Ah, those are the off-tune notes. A process crash is when one of our orchestra members suddenly stops playing, while network partitions are when parts of the orchestra can't hear each other due to a storm.
So without harmony, the whole system falls apart.
Exactly. That's why we use distributed consensus. It's the conductor, ensuring every player gets back in tune, even when the storm hits.
How does this conductor, distributed consensus, work its magic?
Well, it helps a group of musicians or processes agree on their current set music piece, ensuring everyone plays the same tune no matter the disruptions.
And does it only manage to keep the melody intact, or does it help with other elements too?
Oh, it goes beyond. Distributed consensus maintains the overall balance, preserving state consistency, high availability, and reliability despite the chaos.
State consistency, you say? How crucial is that for this symphony?
Crucial. Imagine if each musician thought they were playing a different movement. Consistent state avoids that catastrophe, letting each musician know their part accurately.
And what's the role of high availability here?
High availability ensures that the music doesn't stop playing, even when we lose a few musicians to an unexpected storm. The show must go on.
How does one achieve such reliability? It seems a daunting task to account for failures.
Well, the magic is in redundancy. By having backup processes, we guarantee that even in isolation or failure, the system functions smoothly.
Could you elaborate on the applications of distributed consensus? Where does one find it holding its ground the strongest?
Oh, you see it in leader election for our ensemble, in message commitment for clarity, in locking systems to avoid overlapping sounds. Its applications are as varied as the instruments in an orchestra.
This sounds quite intricate, yet elegant, and it's universally applicable in large distributed systems.
Exactly. Whether it's a global orchestra or just a few local ensembles, distributed consensus ensures everyone's on the same page, no matter the challenges.
But what if there's a failure beyond recovery, such as data center disasters? How resilient are these systems in those situations?
In those cases, the charm of distributed systems comes with geodistribution. It's like setting up orchestras in different regions, ready to step in should the main stage go dark.
Fascinating, but maintaining synchronization across such vast distances must be complicated, no?
True, but there lies the beauty of algorithms like Paxos and Raft that help even the scattered musicians play in perfect time.
And consensus helps mitigate data loss during such failures, correct?
Absolutely. By regularly syncing all musicians to the same sheet of music, even if one falls silent, the rest can carry on seamlessly.
This distributed consensus appears indispensable for large-scale systems. Can you name all of its essential components?
For sure, we have consensus for agreement, redundancy for availability, synchronization for consistency, and a sprinkle of adaptability to handle surprises.
And I presume planning for these components begins right at the architecture level.
Right you are. Just like placing instruments, architecting distributed systems involves smart placement and foreseeing bumps on the road, or on the staff, I should say.
The way consensus binds processes together, it's akin to an invisible thread maintaining the system's integrity.
Exactly, Neuvillette. It's the silent pledge saying, "Come what may, we shall not falter."
Intriguing. So is there any downside or challenge in relying solely on distributed consensus?
Well, it's like teaching an orchestra that takes time to train, not the fastest, but undeniably the most reliable method.
I must say, Hu Tao, your analogies are strikingly effective in demystifying complex technical concepts.
What can I say? I like to play my instruments, whether genshin or gongs of global systems. It's all about harmony, my friend.
I look forward to more light shed upon these consensus mechanisms in depth. Thank you for this illuminating prelude, Hu Tao.
You're welcome. It's just the beginning of our orchestral journey into the world of distributed systems and beyond.
Enlightening as always, Hu Tao. Tell me, what are the confines of consensus regarding network stability?
Network partitions challenge it, like fog blocking the path to harmony. Consensus walks the tightrope between waiting out the fog and risking inconsistencies.
A delicate balance indeed. Does such reliance necessarily reflect on system performance?
Bingo! The trade-off between consistency and availability is as age-old as deciding between melody and rhythm.
In that case, finding the right balance must be an interesting endeavor in itself.
True. It's a dance Neuvillette, a beautiful, nuanced dance of distributed systems in the face of the unknown.
Hu Tao, I've heard whispers about this CAP theorem in distributed systems. What sorcery does it entail that makes everyone so curious about it?
The CAP Theorem, a classic. It lays down quite the daring spell, stating no system can have consistency, availability, and partition tolerance all at once.
Intriguing. So a system can have only two of the three at any given moment. Quite the difficult decision, it seems.
Exactly. If you choose to keep the orchestra playing through a storm, partition tolerance, you have to decide between perfect harmony, consistency, or never missing a note, availability.
A delicate act. And how do distributed consensus mechanisms play into this? Do they help in making this act less precarious?
Oh, they are like masterful maestros, helping us to read our music and make sure everyone plays the right note, even when messages are muddled by the storm.
So distributed consensus ensures consistency then, at the expense of availability perhaps?
Precisely. In pursuit of a perfect performance, consensus prioritizes consistency, but we might wait a bit longer to start our tune.
But waiting too long might make some rather impatient, don't you think? How do we balance this equilibrium?
Well, here come the harmony offers. Acid and base. Each with its own philosophy towards data handling in our musical symphony.
Acid, you say? Quite the solid-sounding name. What does it offer?
Acid promises perfect composition, atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Every note played exactly as scripted, though perhaps a tad slower.
And base, is that a lighter alternative, one akin to a more improvisational performance perhaps?
Indeed. Bass is basically available, soft state, and eventually consistent, letting the melody flow as notes patch themselves together over time.
A more freeing composition, yet potentially dissonant. How does one choose between these in a distributed system orchestra?
Depends on the audience, Neuvillette. Is the safety net of consistent notes preferred, or is a freer, real-time rhythm treasured? Business needs often dictate the choice.
I see. And are these principles applicable universally, or do they possess limits in certain distributed ensembles?
They're a guide, but every orchestra differs in instrument variety and tempo. Sometimes, a creative spin or unique hybrid can better meet specific dynamics.
Is this where distributed consensus emerges again to reign in balance, reminding everyone of their respective parts?
Absolutely. It's all about orchestrating processes, helping every musician know when to play their part, while preventing unwanted solos due to network quirks.
Fascinating. There's a method to keeping harmony amid chaos then, using consensus. How challenging is it to maintain this across vast distances?
Oh, quite the challenge. It's like conducting in an echoic space, a breathtaking feat, but masterful algorithms like Paxos handle the echoes with grace.
And let me guess, are there yet other algorithms like Paxos that shine differently under the spotlight?
You guessed it. Raft offers another arrangement, gracefully stepping in to ensure tempo amidst the descent of potential discord.
And do these algorithms often work alone, or do they team up with other players in the system architecture?
It's rarely a solo act. They pair with higher-level components like configuration stores and leader election, ensuring everything plays beautifully together.
And thus, the ensemble continues to play, undeterred by the whims of network chaos or system limitations, all thanks to this distributed consensus, artfulness.
Truly, Neuvillette. It's an ever-evolving dance to preserve the harmony across all crescendos and adagio.
This interplay between consistency and availability, it must be a key consideration for any architect designing such systems.
Precise as a conductor's baton, it's the very essence of distributed systems, a balance that determines the highs and lows of our digital symphony.
Yet, balancing these considerations in real-world conditions, I imagine it's as challenging as performing an impromptu solo.
Can be. You navigate by ear and feel, adjusting for unforeseen changes in the ensemble's tempo and tone.
I must say, Hu Tao, your vivid imagery and expertise in simplifying these complex ideas into such relatable terms is commendable.
What can I say? I love creating harmony, whether through music, souls, or sprawling distributed systems. It's all part of the art.
Yet, I find myself eager for more knowledge in this expansive field. What else lies ahead in this concert of distributed systems?
Oh, the grand show has just started, dear maestro. We'll delve into case studies next, learning from real-world symphonies that struck a chord or faltered.
Hu Tao, you were saying that we are now moving into the realm of real-world examples. I'm quite curious about how distributed systems fare in practice.
Ah, yes, Neuvillette. The orchestra of distributed systems in the real world can be quite the spectacle, but sometimes it's not always harmonious.
Real-world chaos. Tell me more. How do these systems encounter discord, so to speak?
One classic mishap is the split brain problem. Imagine two conductors each thinking they are leading the orchestra, but only one piece can truly play.
A split brain problem sounds perilous. How does it manifest in real systems?
When a network hiccups, parts of the system can't talk to each other. Both try to take control, leading to data corruption, much like two pianists playing different concertos over each other.
Ah, the cacophony. And how does one resolve such a troubling issue?
It demands decisive coordination, the use of distributed consensus to appoint a single conductor, ensuring everyone marches to the same beat.
I see. And what other improvisations do these systems necessitate under pressure?
Another is when failovers require human intervention. Instead of a smooth transition, it's like suddenly asking the audience to decide the next movement.
Human intervention, you say? What makes it so burdensome in these symphonies?
During a stormy night or system failure, engineers stumble in to assume control. They become overloaded, struggling like a single violinist playing all entire orchestra's parts.
Quite the overload indeed. So are these failovers a sign of flawed designs needing a change in orchestration?
Exactly. We must use robust, vetted algorithms to automate the musical handover, ensuring the engineers aren't burdened by unwarranted solos.
A solution indeed. But how is such automation achieved in systems with such nuanced challenges?
We employ distributed consensus mechanisms like Paxos and Raft to conduct the orchestra seamlessly, ensuring systems can self-correct without human error.
What about membership? Determining who plays in this digital ensemble? Another potential snafu, perhaps.
Ah, group membership is another delicate movement. Without consensus, different sections may spin into their own tunes, causing unsynchronized dancing.
So, the very synchronization relies heavily on these algorithms, aligning everyone's instruments properly.
Precisely, you can't let the brass section drown out the strings. Every part must know its place, and consensus ensures not a note is out of turn.
And you said earlier how proven algorithms solve these lapses. What happens if we tread a more improvisational path?
Improvised methods, like ad hoc heartbeat signals, might lead to missed beats and even data inconsistencies, prolonging system hiccups.
The reliance on heartbeat signals. It must be comparable to a drummer trying to set the pace without seeing the other players.
Exactly. It provides some rhythm but can't ensure harmony. Only formal, tested consensus algorithms can assure every player's composed cooperation.
Your insights make the complexities of distributed systems far less daunting, Hu Tao. I wonder, do these orchestration challenges occur often?
Thankfully, full false notes are rare. Yet we must prepare, because the slightest misstep can cascade, leading from peaceful play to problematic pandemonium.
Pandemonium sounds quite worrying. And these tested consensus algorithms, you say they're the guardians against such chaos?
Precisely, proven algorithms act like seasoned conductors, minimizing discord and maximizing precision in every performance.
Tell me, how do systems balance the load of monitoring these algorithms, ensuring they stay true to their form?
Systems employ meticulous monitoring to oversee transactions and leadership changes, much like intently tuning an instrument before a show.
And is this monitoring in itself a complex task akin to mastering a new symphony?
Indeed, every section must be carefully observed, tuning the ensemble for peak performance, ensuring leaders don't abruptly change mid-performance.
When conducted flawlessly, this monitoring must ensure no disturbances, allowing the system's symphony to flow unimpeded.
Exactly. In harmony, each node thrives like a concert well received by its audience, orchestrating servers without a hitch.
It's truly an intricate dance of balance and coordination across even the most distant of performers.
So it is, Neuvillette. And with well-tuned consensus, the world of distributed systems is our stage, ready for the next captivating act.
Hu Tao, I'm eager to delve further into the mechanics of distributed consensus. Can you unravel the mysteries behind algorithms like Paxos and Raft for me?
Certainly. Paxos and Raft are fascinating algorithms that help keep our orchestra of distributed systems in perfect harmony, making sure every musician plays their part in sync.
I see, but how do they actually achieve this feat? It must require quite the coordination.
Paxos and Raft ensure that all the notes in our system's music are agreed upon by a majority of processes, even if some players miss a beat due to network disruptions.
So these processes, they're akin to musicians needing to follow the conductor's baton, right?
Exactly. Each plays its role based on the conductor's cues, maintaining system consistency through agreements on shared state.
And how do these algorithms differ? Do they use distinct methods to keep the symphony in tune?
Well, Paxos functions in phases, proposing and accepting values through a series of votes, while Raft is more straightforward, electing a leader to help coordinate the ensemble.
A leader in Raft? How does one musician take the lead without causing discord in the orchestra?
The leader ensures everyone plays the correct sheet music, handling right operations, and the other processes play along, achieving a harmonious balance.
Intriguing. And how do these patterns translate into practical systems?
We apply them in replicated state machines where operations are executed globally and consistently, much like a synchronized concert performance.
Replicated state machines, you say? I assume they hold a crucial role in maintaining order.
Absolutely. They ensure operations unfold in a specific sequence, letting every part of the system march to the same drum beat.
And in terms of architecture, how are these systems orchestrated to perform seamlessly?
It's a layered design, consensus at the base, above which we have data stores, queues, and even leader election. Each element supports the next, crafting a stable structure.
Leader election seems to be a recurring theme. Is it frequently used, or are there specific circumstances where it truly shines?
It's quite versatile. Whether coordinating works of service leaders or synchronizing data, leader election keeps everything in orderly convergence.
So coordination services and locks come into play here too. How does that interplay occur?
Picture a lock holding instruments until each is ready. Coordination services guard these locks, synchronizing resources and preventing concurrency chaos.
Locks sound challenging. What ensures they're effective in preventing unwanted solos or corruption?
It's consensus again. With proven protocols, distributed locks are deployed wisely, balancing caution with creative progress.
And what of messaging? How does one ensure messages traverse the system effectively and reliably?
Think of atomic broadcast as the ultimate score delivery, ensuring every musician receives, in order, the precise instructions to hit the right notes.
Such messaging must be fundamental for a dynamic, responsive ensemble, I presume.
Exactly. In queuing systems, messages orchestrate tasks among workers. The synchronized queue is vital to maintain this flow.
So these algorithms, Paxos and Raft, transcend theory into the beating heart of operational systems.
Yes, there are hidden maestros, keeping each digital symphony resilient and each performance pitch perfect.
Then, Hu Tao, you've painted a beautiful picture of these systems as symphonic marvels. Thank you for sharing this with such zest.
Always happy to illuminate the magic of our world, Neuvillette. May our systems and symphonies forever achieve duet bliss.